unbeaten if I fought all the guys that he did. Well, joining us live now, the aforementioned Terence Crawford. And Terence, that's not true he'd be unbeaten, because in fact, you have fought one of the guys that beat him, Breidis Prescott.
Both of you. Tócalos, buenas tardes.
19-0 as a professional so far with 15 knockouts, but just to reiterate, hasn't faced anybody with the kind of dossier or quality that Breidis Prescott has demonstrated in the ring.
Yet still he has to have a lot of credit given to him, though, because he actually is a 135-pounder. He stepped up to 140 to take this fight, and he stepped up against a very unique 140-pound fighter who has much more experience than himself. So you have to give him credit on that alone.
Stepping up, Roy, with only 2 weeks' notice, and moving from a 135-pound fight to a 140-pound fight. Weighs in at 1 on the undercard of a big pay-per-view here in Vegas more than a year ago.
Prescott threw his first Rios fight. To generalize about the middle of the country with Crawford. Crawford, as you mentioned, did have a distinguished amateur career.
Had a record almost identical to that of Crawford and a background similar to that of Crawford.
He's not throwing because he doesn't see anything.
And doesn't his natural movement in the southpaw stance take him away from Prescott's right hand?
Yes, it does.
Which may be part of the reason that he's...
Crawford here attempting to pull off a difficult, dangerous style at the highest level, or at a very high level, which is, you don't see a
by Crawford as he moved away. Prescott having trouble finding him. Crowd having trouble finding a reason to get excited. Executive Director Keith Kaiser did hold up a card to inform everyone at ringside it was the result of an accidental butt.
Well, we'll see how Crawford responds to an infuriated Prescott here, but I liked what I saw out of him after the headbutt. Prescott complained, told him to shut up. He grabbed himself in a certain area. Crawford did, and called him the B word. So, I mean, you know, he was forceful about it.
So far, Crawford's responded with a good hard right hook and a straight left hand, which both have landed in this round.
No matter what happens.
And he's showing that when it gets rough, the other guy complains, shut up, I'm not complaining, you don't complain, we're fighting. Aggression of the infuriated Prescott
a good shot
against him. Double body shot from Crawford. He's having a brilliant round after the accidental headbutt inflamed Breidis Prescott.
Here you see Crawford land a beautiful right hook on that left eye, which is right above the cut that Prescott has. Then he come back and they land simultaneously, but his overhand left landed again right on that cut.
Broken into double digits in the fight. Harold, how do you have it now?
Hookage, I've got it 5 rounds to 1. 59-55, Terence Crawford. He keeps popping him with that right jab. He's got Prescott off balance. Prescott's fighting Crawford's fight. Crawford's keeping his fight in the middle of the ring, using that right jab, coming over with that straight left hand, and unless Breidis Prescott starts to punch a lot more, he can't win this fight. 5-1, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford.
You'll notice from time to time Prescott lands a shot, a jab usually.
Straight right hand moments ago.
Yeah, and that's because Crawford's not a scary fighter in the parlance of boxing, meaning he doesn't fight as though he's scared. Good defensive fighters are not impossible to hit with any one shot. It's hard to hit them with more than one shot. Problem with Prescott is he can put your lights out with one shot.
He's so neutralized here with the lateral movement and the fact that he's not backing straight up, because a fighter like Prescott, who's a real puncher, likes to come straight forward with his punches. There you see Crawford is punching and stepping around to his right, which is not allowing Prescott to come straight ahead as a puncher.
Oh, Prescott getting close and landing a couple there.
Action beginning to confidence and his energy level up, prevent him from getting discouraged. He's not winning the fight, so it would appear to us.
Tell you what, Crawford, he's not, when he's fighting those lightweights in Omaha, they're not as big and strong and crafty as Prescott. Knocked Prescott off balance, and occasionally Prescott's reaching him with that right hand.
Prescott lands a left hook, Crawford lands a right hook at the same time.
Crawford has a real heart, I'll tell you that.
Crawford giving as good as he's getting. Go forward.
He's got a fighter's temperament, as trainer and broadcaster Teddy Atlas would say. A fighter's temperament, Crawford, even though...
Power punches through 7. Breidis Prescott 21 out of 110. And Terence Crawford much more accurate at 33 of 91. Harold Letterman has given every round since the first to Terence Crawford, fighting in his first 10-round event, fighting at this level of competition for the first time. Prescott regards himself as a hard-luck fighter. Knocked out Amir Khan in 54 seconds, never could get the rematch as Khan came on to greater prominence and bigger money. Went to Belfast, Ireland to fight Paul McCloskey and got the predictable unanimous decision loss, although most ringside observers felt he had won the fight. Hence, Crawford 10 out of 40 per round, Prescott 5 out of 38 per round. Division average is 18 out of 60 per round, so it is a very defensive battle. Breidis Prescott is not a defensive fighter, he's an offensive fighter. This is not the kind of fight he wanted.
He's also, good right
Hard
hand.
right hand by Prescott.
Prescott's also the kind of guy, you know, it's easy for a fighter to look good. You see the fans booing a little here. It reminds me of a... Oh, there you go. Now Crawford's opening up.
Great counterpunch rally by Crawford there.
And Crawford also has been very smart, but he's been going to Prescott's body.
Good uppercut.
Something you definitely want to do to a strong...
If you watch MMA sometimes, they'll be rolling around on the ground, it looks like, to a casual observer, and there's not enough action, but they're actually doing a lot of subtle things, jockeying for position, so they can open up big things. And that's what Crawford did this round. The equivalent of grappling. He did a lot of little things that opened up some big things later in the round that the fans didn't appreciate.
Gone most of the way in that southpaw stance. Harold, how do you have it coming to the 10th?
Okay, Jim, I got to tell you, I am really disappointed in Breidis Prescott. I got an 89-82, 8 rounds to 1, Terence Crawford. I mean, he's taking a big guy, and he's beating him up. And Breidis Prescott just doesn't open up, doesn't throw the hard shots he's capable of. You know, he'll probably call me up tomorrow and tell me I'm a lousy judge. But even still, I don't think Breidis Prescott is fighting a good fight. I think Terence Crawford is fighting a tremendous fight. 8-1 Crawford.
Prescott came very close to putting his glove on the canvas, which would have given Crawford credit for a knockdown.
This round, at least, they told him he's losing and he needs a knockout to win. So somebody figure out...
Body shots by Crawford.
Crawford could be taking it easy here and cruising to victory, but he wants to hurt his guy.
He's trying to get him out of this.
Well, where he does remind me of Whitaker, other than the obvious ways, as Donaire points out, is he'll hit you in the face with his head and tell you to shut up.
Crawford with a big grin on his face, showboating just a little now.
Prescott just wasn't busy enough tonight.
Yeah, and that's because of Crawford. It's
exactly
what Crawford did, not what Prescott didn't do.
Exactly.
Just a better all-around fighter. Can do more things than Breidis Prescott and put it fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Don Trella scores at 99-91. Glenn Trowbridge 97-93, and Bert Clements 100-90. All to the winner by unanimous decision, still undefeated. From Omaha, Nebraska, Terence Crawford.